Welcome to this edition, the May 2023 edition of Upfront and REAL, where we discuss those issues impacting Ohio's electric cooperatives and their priorities of providing reliable, environmentally responsible, affordable, stable rates to those local communities that we serve. I'm Karen Whitney, Director of Communications for OEC, and with me today is our President and CEO, Pat O'Loughlin. Pat, welcome. You know, in our May edition of Ohio Cooperative Living magazine, you say for the first time that power reliability is at risk here in Ohio. You say, I quote, "As summer approaches this year, we can no longer take 24/7 availability of power for granted in Ohio." That's a big statement. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, Karen, unfortunately, today that's true. We have seen recent examples in California, Texas, just as recently as this last Christmas Eve, 9 states experienced rolling blackouts due to a lack of supply of electricity during severe weather events. And we have experienced over the last several years a disorderly retirement of fossil-fired generation that we can control and dispatch to meet people's energy requirements under a wide range of weather conditions that we experience. And by the way, it's not just me. Today, we're getting reports from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, which is responsible for overseeing the reliability conditions of our grid, and also the PJM Interconnection, our grid operator here in this part of the country, have both come out with reports in the last couple of months laying out for us the fact that our risks have increased substantially in the last couple of years, and as they look ahead, they grow even further due to the policies that we have in place today.
You know, and you talk about, the risk of reliability of power, and that's so important. We do take it for granted. We go switch on a light and we expect it to come on. It's really always been that way since the beginning of electricity. And you look to like, gosh, who's to blame for us being in this position?
Well, it's a great question, and I don't know if blaming anybody is a great idea. I can tell you that the electric co-ops here in Ohio have for decades now responsibly made sure that we provide for the resources needed to meet the member demands of our member consumers. We've used all of the above approach to generation. We use coal, we use natural gas, we use renewable power to meet our needs, and we've continued to grow and expand and keep up with the demands that we've seen. But what we have seen as well nationwide is some bad policies. First on the environmental regulations that have forced early retirements of some fossil fuel generation sources that we depended on for decades to meet our needs through thick and thin, good weather and bad weather. We've also seen market rules instituted recently in these organized markets that are not paying for reliability. They don't recognize the attributes that certain resources bring to make our grid more reliable, and they try to pay everybody the same. Wind and solar are not there all the time. They are not there at night or during certain weather conditions, and they're not controllable. Yet they all get paid the same, and so that's sort of a market problem that we've got on top of this regulatory problem. And I think what we've seen is, we can get through one thing or another, but as these problems start to pile up, you start to see the result over time, and that's what we're seeing now is a weakening of our power grid, and something that we can no longer take for granted, that there's plenty of power supply whenever we need it. Today, that's no longer true, and we know that it's probably going to get worse over the next couple of years.
And this weekend, we saw news coming out from, our administration. It seems like a doubling down on power plants, putting that vice grip even tighter on us. Or is there something good in that? Help people understand.
Well, you know that we've always been in favor of responsible environmental performance of our power plants, and we understand that you need common sense regulations to make that happen. What we've seen, though, is a prioritizing of dramatic carbon reductions faster than the industry can possibly make it, and that are starting to put people's health and safety at risk by not having a reliable supply of electricity under those extreme conditions when people depend on us most to protect them. The safety and security of people is at risk when we have these extreme weather events, and if we don't have a reliable supply of electricity, I feel like we're putting carbon ahead of people, and I think that's a problem right now today.
Pat, thank you for talking about this today. We know it's a serious issue for our cooperatives, and we hope there's some kind of solution in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. It's unfortunate that we're at this point, but we got to deal with the realities that are here in front of us and look forward and try to make the best of the circumstances that we have, and that's what we're going to try to do.